Well, like. So initially, I wasn't actually even going to bring this up, but obviously with Hulk Hogan the other week dying, when I read into how he died, sort of got me questioning somewhat as to whether or not his cause of death could be potentially hereditary. The reason I say that, obviously, as you can see on the screen right now, is cardiac arrest or heart attacks, even, which are somewhat similar in nature. Obviously, Hulk Hogan died of a cardiac arrest in his home a couple of weeks back. Just a week before that occurred, my granddad's brother, who, and I will elaborate in just a second, but it's very easy to get tongue-tied with the sort of family fucking dynamics here, but my granddad's brother's son had a cardiac arrest. So, when I put this into layman's terms, my great-grandfather, which is obviously the father of not just my grandfather, but obviously his brother, my great-grandfather died of a heart attack. My grandfather died of a cardiac arrest. My granddad's brother, who lives in New Zealand, or lived in New Zealand, sorry, died of a cardiac arrest. And his son, just a week before Hulk Hogan, died of a cardiac arrest. My grandfather's brother's son had a cardiac arrest, but thankfully he survived. So, that's four men in our family. So I started doing a bit of digging after Hulk Hogan died. I probably should have done this a long time ago, admittedly, but I decided to do it subsequently after Hulk Hogan died, and lo and behold, it seems to be a hereditary issue. Same way that a lot of families out there, you probably are familiar with one or two people out there yourself, where like breast cancer runs in the family, etc. So it is somewhat concerning, because more so for me in the sense that, like, if I was to put myself into a bracket where I compared me to the lifestyle choices that I had made back in the day up against my grandfather, my great grandfather, and my granddad's brother, and even I don't even know what the fuck he is. Is he like a cousin, whatever? No, he like great uncle, great cousin, second, third cousin or something. None of them have like lived the sort of lifestyle that I had done so in my latter teens, and for a good portion of my latter 20s. Like, they lived somewhat clean lifestyles, to put it plainly. Keep it PG. That said, obviously, like, my great grandfather was a bit of a drunkard in his latter years, but that's here nor there. My point is, compared to their lifestyles, mine has been above and beyond degeneracy. And I've made no secret in the past, like for years on and off, talking about fucking like having mental heartburn and stuff. Like, so it's kind of creepy in that regard, in the sense that I'm not entirely sure, like, I'm gonna see the ages that these people have managed to reach before they had their aforementioned cardiac and or heart attacks. Die long before that. So I think, on a side note, before I get to the sort of conclusion of this video, I will be going to my GP pretty soon, to be honest. But just like even looking for the Scottish government shit, and they go on about like Scotland's out of hospital cardiac arrest strategy reflects progress that's been made since throughout the lifetime of the previous strategy, sets out the next steps that we will take to ensure as many people as possible will survive out of hospital cardiac arrests in Scotland. Simultaneously as well, because I quite often sit and I watch like YouTube via my Chromecast, and like quite often I get like adverts from like the British Heart Foundation. They keep banging on about fucking cardiac arrest and stuff like that. And it's just, there's a lot of creepy fucking factors even that are coming into play at the same time. I mean, I'm not not going to be that guy, but I mean, I think there's an elephant in the room when it comes to well, there's a lot more people nowadays, you know, dropping down suddenly, to quote the media from back in the day. Hence why, like, schools and churches, etc., all have fucking defibrillators. I'll also say, on a side note, not that I can fault the paramedics at the time, but my grandfather probably could potentially still be alive today if he actually went to the hospital at the time when he first complained about having heartburn, which is on like the Thursday or something. And then he went all weekend still having heartburn before what happened to him. But the first ambulance that actually turned up at my grandmother's house the day that my grandfather died, the first ambulance didn't have a fucking defibrillator. But that's here nor there. Point is, though, unfortunately in this day and age, we don't live in a world now, as far as like the online content creation is concerned, where you can make a video, where it will like reach the masses, like, so that's unfortunate, and that's really irrelevant of what sort of specific topic you're speaking about, whether it's politics, whether it's gaming, whether it's fucking car engine, complicated. It doesn't matter. Like, you don't get anywhere really in this day and age. So I'm not entirely convinced. I would be retarded to think otherwise. That what I'm saying right now and what I'm going to conclude this video with is going to reach anybody, and it's going to touch their life, and it's going to make them decide that, oh my god, yeah, I need to change my lifestyle, and or I need to go to the doctors, etc. What I am simply saying, though, is for somebody that listens to this either today, next month, 3 years from now, or 10 years from now, provided my channel hasn't nuked by that point, is that if you are somebody who has sort of abused your physical health, your internal health, you probably should expect ramifications long term anyway, but nobody thinks like that, obviously, at the time. But more so, though, if you are susceptible, or if you've got a family lineage where certain issues have propped up, whether sporadic or predominantly, then you should probably take a bit more care of yourself. And I know it's easy to say, and I know I sound like a hypocrite, because for fuck's sake, like, I've taken the utter piss out of myself at times in terms of the amount of abuse that I've placed on my physical well-being as far as my heart is concerned. And consequently speaking, though, quite often I get heartburn, and it does worry me a bit that, like, my future seems to be sort of set in stone. So I will be speaking to my GP at some point, but I mean, it's easily done, isn't it? I mean, like an alcoholic, for example, they don't give a fuck about the liver, your Daniela Westbrooks, etc. They never gave a shit about the nostrils. But I mean, it's just the fact that so many men in my family are all falling foul to the same death. It's kind of weirded me out a bit, quite frankly, because as I said, even, I have, if I was to be compared to these four men, I have lived the worst lifestyle out of all fucking five of us. So I don't know, but I'm going to be speaking to my GP. Even that, I mean, the GPs at this point, we all know this, it's a fucking joke. Phone them up, nothing works. And, you're very lucky at this point if you get an appointment, but just saying, it's not. It's really weird. Like, I don't want to sit here and like lecture people, like, and I ain't some intellectual, nor am I in a position to sort of patronise people. People will do what they will do, You drink, you smoke, you do what you do, whether it's weed or otherwise, whatever the fuck it may be, you know what I mean? Um, I've been there, I have been there on multiple occasions throughout my years, and even when it comes to, for example, smoking, people will tell you, you shouldn't smoke because you might end up with rotten teeth or gum disease or lung cancer. And, you'll be like, oh, fuck off. Even, even if you take that advice on board, you're not really going to stop smoking because somebody said that to you. You know what I mean? I understand all that. But for me, obviously I've got issues myself anyway on my fucking kidneys. I don't know what's going on there, to be honest. But, big booty butts. I had a bit of a reality check. Had plenty of time to reflect, but I don't know. But as far as the Scottish Government are concerned, they say here that every year over 3,000 people in Scotland experience an out-of-hospital cardiac arrest. And that's, then they go on to elaborate that it's when the heart stops pumping blood around the body, commonly because of problems with the electrical signals in a person's heart. So it is practically just a fucking heart attack. So there's a heavy emphasis on fucking CPR and whatnot, right? And I'm not disputing whether or not that could potentially save lives out of hospital and whatnot. But, if you've injected yourself with any certain anti-kiff redacted, then might be out of the statistics in a lot of videos. However, though, all I'm simply saying is that I just think that it's really weird. It's like hindsight, the old cliche, hindsight's 2020. As much as I feel fucking shit, I'm not a happy guy. I haven't been for the last couple of years, it's very difficult to explain to people if they don't understand. You try having a child that you've never fucking met. You might like to see, but I've started to sort of grasp a sort of somewhat appreciation of life, and again, it's easier said than done. But the reality of the matter is, you could very easily become a statistic if you're not careful. So, yeah. I don't know. Anyway, adios, I guess. Bye-bye.